So 8251 is a programmable device. It is also called as programmable communication interface. And this programmable chip is designed for the synchronous as well as asynchronous serial data transfer, having 28 pin in its integrated circuit. And there are two versions are available, 8251A and 8251. 8251 is a predecessor of 8251A. Normally, the communication which used to happen with the microprocessor is normally done parallelly. But there are certain devices which either gives the data serially or receives the data serially. So for that particular purpose, we are in requirement of a certain interfacing device with which the parallel data which is being transmitted by the microprocessor can be converted serially so that the peripheral device is able to receive it. Similarly, whenever there is an input, a peripheral device which has the property of providing the data only serially. So we are in requirement of a certain device which is used to collect the data serially and then supply and give the data to the microprocessor parallel. So the device which is known as controller device, communication interface, programmable communication interface, and the chip is given the name as 8251. And it is known as USART, which means that universal synchronous asynchronous receiver and the transmitter. Meaning thereby its purpose is to either receive the data or transmit the data, either in synchronous mode or in the asynchronous mode. That is why it is known as USART. As we all know that most of the microprocessors are designed for the parallel transmission of the data. It is doing the parallel communication. But every time it is not feasible, because if the device which is very near to the microprocessor and the data is communicated with them in parallel fashion, then it's good, because parallel transfer of the data is always having advantages, because most of the time it is good in its speed. But whenever we have to transfer the data which is at a longer distance, and if we want to communicate with that particular device through the parallel communication, then because of the financial reasons, because of the costing which is involved, it becomes impractical to use the parallel communication. So because the cable will be cable which will be used for parallel communication will have more cost, as well as there are certain devices which does not support the parallel communication, such as CRT terminal. So it means we have to use the serial communication, and the serial communication is one in which only one byte is used to transfer the data at a time. Now, as far as the basic concepts which are related with the serial communication, it depends on the following points, because serial communication has its own rules and regulation and flaws and advantages and disadvantages. This serial communication depends upon the classification. It depends upon the transmission format. It is like a data communication over the telephone lines, the error detection, the interfacing requirement, as well as the serial communication standards. So we have to be very habitual. We have to know what is the basic concept related to the serial communication. Now, before we go into the detail of the serial communication, we have to know, because this term will be used bit per second, or the baud will be very often used while doing the serial communication. Now, this bit rate and the baud rate are used in the data communication, and these are, and the formula which is related with the bit per second and the baud is bit rate is equal to whatever is the baud rate multiplied by number of the bit per second. Now, what is the bit rate? Bit rate is the transmission of number of bits per second. In 1 second, how many bits can be transferred? It is known as bit rate. But the baud rate is the number of the signals unit which are transferred per second. Now, there is a difference between number of bits and the signal, because signal may contain 1 bit, 2 bit, 3 bit, or how many bits, I don't know. Bit rate can also be defined as per second travel number of the bits, and baud rate is defined as per second number of changes which has occurred in the signal. Bit rate focuses on the computer efficiency, but the baud rate focuses on the data transmission. So basically, bit rate is related with the computer's efficiency, and the baud rate is going to focus on the transmission rate. And whenever we talk about the formula, the bit rate is equal to baud rate into number of bits per baud, and baud rate is bit rate divided by the number of bits per baud. So it will be more clear whenever we'll be discussing later on. Now, we were discussing that basic concepts of serial communication are based on classification. So classification means how the transmission is going to occur, whether it is a simplex communication. In simplex communication, data are transmitted only in one direction. For example, if you take an example that if the data is transmission from the microprocessor to the printer, because printer is never going to give the data to the microcomputer. So simplex transmission is a transmission where the data are transmitted only in one direction. In half duplex, data flows in both the directions. However, if the transmission goes one way at a time, it is called half duplex. And if it goes both ways simultaneously, it is called the full duplex. Meaning thereby, in case of half duplex, one way communication is possible because from one device to another device. But in full duplex, the channel has been set in such a manner that both the devices can transfer the data simultaneously. So that is the difference in between the transmission classification, that which kind of classification it is being used, whether it is simplex, half duplex, and the full duplex. Then we have a transmission format. Data can be sent in two formats. The first one is the synchronous and another is the asynchronous. Now, what is the synchronous? The synchronous transfer is based on it is oriented towards the character. The bits of a character or the data word are sent at a constant rate, but the character can come at any rate as long as they don't overlap. The data rate can be expressed as bit per second or character per second, which is also known as the baud rate. Now, bit per second is known as bit rate, and the character per second is known as the baud rate. Now, this format is used for the low speed transmission. The asynchronous format is being used for the low speed transmission. Second one is the synchronous. Synchronous means at the same time. With the help of the common clock signals, the transmitter and the receiver are going to be synchronized and used for the high speed transmission. So synchronous, as I told you, it is meaning thereby both the devices are ready to transfer the data. That the time when the receiver is able to receive, the sender will be able to ready to send the data. In synchronous format, a receiver and the transmitter, you can say that they are synchronized. so that a block of transfer of the character is transmitted along with the synchronized information. And this format is, as I told you, that this format is normally used for the high-speed transmission. So the third one is the interfacing requirement. Interfacing requirement means if we want to implement the serial communication in between two devices, it means we have to either convert parallel data into the serial data, or we are in requirement of converting the serial data into a parallel data. So for that particular purpose, we have to use a device, and that device is known as universal synchronous receiver, asynchronous receiver transmitter, that was 8250. Later on, this device, which provides the synchronous as well as the asynchronous transmission, that is known as 8251, that is USART. And this 8251 is programmable for the number of bits as well as the pair key. Now, the interfacing requirement for a serial input output peripheral are the same as far as the parallel input output device is concerned. The microprocessor identifies the peripherals through a port address and enables it by using the read and the write. Now, the primary difference between the parallel input output and the serial input output is in the number of the lines which are available to transfer the data. The parallel input output uses the entire buses, and the serial input output uses only one data line. So what is used to happen, only one line will be used to transmit the data. So what happens when the microprocessor is going to select the processor through the chip select signal and uses the control signal either to receive the data or to transmit the data, that is either the input output read or input output write. The address decoding can be either the peripheral input output as well as it may be the memory mapped input output. Similarly, in serial peripheral can be interfaced either by using a program control, that is the status check, or by using the interrupt control. So these are the certain information which are related with the serial input output. Now let us directly move to the 8251. Now 8251 USART is having certain standard features, and these features are such that it is going to support standard asynchronous protocol. And this asynchronous protocol, standard protocol, it will be using 5 to 8-bit character format. It means one character can be transferred and each character can have 5 to 8-bit. And the baud rate at which it can transfer the data is from DC to 19.2 kilobaud. And false start bit detection is also available in this asynchronous protocol. It is also going to support standard synchronous protocol. And in this also 5 to 8 character format is being used. 5 to 8-bit character format is used, but the baud rate is going to be up to the 64 kilobaud. This USART, it allows us to full duplex transmission as well as the reception. Because we have seen that we have a simplex, half duplex, and the full duplex. This USART allows full duplex transmission in the reception. And it also provides the facility of data buffering either at the transmission section or at the receiving section. It provides error detection logic and supports the modem control logic. It is compatible with all Intel microprocessor, whether it is 80, 85, 80, 86, 80, 88, 80, 286, 386, and it is fabricated in 28-bit. And it provides separate clock input for the receiver and transmitter sections, thus providing an option of fixing the baud rate, meaning thereby the clock input at the receiver section is different, is separate, and the transmitter section is separate. So we have an option to change the baud rate depending upon that at what baud rate the uh, devices are going to transfer the data. Now this is the pin diagram of 8251, which consists of 28 pins, and these 28 pins consist of there are different signals. Some are incoming signals, some are outgoing signal, and few are bidirectional signals. So let us discuss the signals one by one. The first one is D0 to D7. This is the data bus. It means through this bus, the data bus of the microprocessor is connected. Meaning thereby, this is the data bus which is connected with the data bus of the microprocessor. The second one is C/D, where this one is activated when C is activated when it is high and D is activated when it is low. C stands for whenever we want to work with the control register, it should be high. But whenever we want to work with the data buffer register, then it should be low. Read signal is used for read control. Write signal is used for write control. CS chip select signal is used for the chip selection of the chip or the selection of the 8251. Clock is the input to the 8251. Now it is the microprocessor. If you remember, the microprocessor is having 40 pin. Some of the pins are output pins, and one of the output pin is the clock out. And that clock out is connected with the clock in of 8251. And this purpose of this clock out is to synchronize the different devices which are connected with that particular pin. So meaning thereby the clock supply, it is getting from the microprocessor by connecting this pin with the clock out of the microprocessor. Reset, the purpose is same. To make 8251 in the ideal condition, we will reset. TNC, this is the term transmitter clock. As I told you earlier, transmitter will have its own clock, receiver will have its own clock. So this TC is the transmission clock, and TD is the transmitter data. Similarly, RC is the receiver clock and RD is the receiver data. And RRDY is the receiver ready, giving the information that receiver is ready. TRDY means transmitter ready. DSR stands for data set ready. DTR, data terminal ready. And SYNDATE and BRACDATE is the synchronous detect and the break detect. RTS, request to send the data. CTS, clear to send the data. TEMP, transmitter empty. VCC is the supply, which is plus 5 volt, and GND is the ground. This is the block diagram of 8251. And this block diagram consists of many blocks. First block is data bus buffer. Second block is read write control logic. Third is modem control. Fourth is transmitter section, which consists of 2 blocks. And fifth one is the receiver block, that is the receiver section, that is receiver buffer and the receiver control. And all these lines which are connected, which are shown in the pin diagram, are here. Chip select line. Now let us discuss the individual pins of the 8251. The chip select, when this signal is going low, whenever this signal is going low, it means the 8251A is selected by the microprocessor unit for the communication. Until unless this chip select signal is not low, it is not able to communicate with the 8251. And this line is usually connected to the decoded address bus. The second one is control oblique data line. When this signal is high, the control register or the stator register is addressed. Now, whenever we talk about this read-write control logic, this read-write control logic consists of 6 control signals, and it consists of 3 registers. The first register is the control register, status register, and the data register. These are the 3 registers which are within the read-write logic. And we have 6 lines which are associated with this diagram, this read-write logic. So the purpose of CS has been explained. The purpose of control and D, that is when this signal is high, the control register or the address register is being sent, addressed. It means since it has 3 registers, control register, status register, and the data register. So when this signal is high, microprocessor is able to write anything on the control register as well as the status register. But when this signal is low, it is able to write anything on the data register. So the control register and the status registers are differentiated. How it will be differentiated? It will be differentiated by the write signal or the read signal respectively. And the purpose of this read signal and the write signal, when the write signal is low, it means microprocessor uses either writes it into the control word or sends the output to the data buffer. And this line is connected with the input output write or the memory write line of the microprocessor. Similarly, the read line, when this signal is low, the microprocessor reads the status from the status register or accepts the input data from the data buffer. And this line is connected with the input output read or the memory read line of the microprocessor. Reset, as I told you, whenever it is high, it is going to force 8251 into the ideal state. And the clock input, usually it is the input which is provided by the microprocessor with the system clock line. And this clock does not control either the transmission or the reception rate, not at all. This clock is necessary for the communication in between the microprocessor and the 8251. Then we have, as I told you, that we have 3 registers. One is control register, another is status register, and third one is the data buffer. So the purpose of this control register, it is a 16-bit register, and the purpose of this register is to write, to load the control word into that register. And this control word, which is stored in the control register, has 2 independent bytes. The first byte is called mode instruction, that is word, and the second byte is called command instruction, it is also word. It means the control register is of 16-bit, which is used to write 2 words of 8-bit. One is called mode instruction and another is called the command instruction. And this register can be accessed as an output port whenever the C/D pin is high. Means you are able to write, means the microprocessor is able to write anything into the control register whenever the C/D line is high. The second one is the status register. This status register is going to input. It is an input register also. It is going to check the ready status of the peripheral device. This register is addressed as an input port whenever the CD line is high. And it has the same port address as the port address of the control register. So control register and the status registers are used all together because they are connected with the same port address. And the third register which is used is the data register or the data buffer. And this is a bidirectional register which can be addressed as an input port as well as an output port whenever the C/D line is low. So what happens? The signals, that is read signal, write signal, CND, and the CS, these are used for the reading/writing operation with these 3 registers. When this CD line is high, the control register is selected for writing control word or reading the status word. When CD line is low, the data buffer is selected either for reading operation or for the writing operation. The next unit, next block of this 8251 is data bus buffer. This is a tri-state buffer, bidirectional buffer, and this 8-bit buffer is used to interface the 8251 to the system data bus. Along with that, the data, the control word, the command words, as well as the status information are transferred through this bus. Then we have a transmitter section, which consists of 2 units. Transmitter section consists of 2 units. One is transmitter buffer and another is the transmitter control. Now this transmitter accepts the parallel data from the microprocessor and converts the data, converts that parallel data into the serial data. Again, it has 2 registers. One is buffer register to store or hold the 8-bit, and the output register to convert the 8 bits into the stream of the serial bit. So it means 2 registers are used. One is used to buffer the information which has come from the microprocessor, and second register is used to collect the stream of the bits which is converted from parallel to the serial. So the microprocessor is going to write a byte into the buffer register, and whenever the output register is empty, the content of the buffer register are transferred to the output register. So how this conversion is being done? Now, as I told you that it contains 2 registers. One is buffer register and another is the output register. Buffer register contains the data which is received from the microprocessor, and output register contains the data which is converted by the transmitter unit from parallel to serial in the stream of bits. So how it works? Since it holds the 8-bit parallel data and other registers called the output register, it is used to convert the previous data into the stream of bit. Now the process is that the processor loads the data into the buffer register, and when the output register is empty at a particular time, when the output register is empty, the data is transferred from the buffer to the output register. Now the processor can load another data into the buffer register, because once the buffer register is not empty, it is not able to load the another data. So what used to happen, buffer register contains the data, and this buffered data is converted serially. And after it is converted serially, it is transferred to the output register. And once this is transferred to the output register, the buffer register becomes empty. When the buffer register can become empty, then only it is able to receive the next parallel data, 8-bit data from the microprocessor. Now, now the processor is able to load the buffer. Now, if the buffer register is empty, if this buffer register is empty, then this TRDY is being asserted high. This signal become high. And if the output register is empty, when the output has been sent, so when the output register is empty, the T empty is going to become asserted high. And these signal can also be used as an interrupt or the status of the data transmission. Now this signal T and C, this is going to control the rate at which the bits will be transmitted by the USRT, and the clock frequency can be 1, 16, or 64 times that of the baud rate. Similarly, the receiver section is going to work. Again, it has 2 registers. The receiver section is going to accept the serial data and then it converts the serial data into the parallel data. So again, it is double buffered, similar to the transmitter section, which will be using two registers. One is the buffer register, another is the output register. So it has an input register which is going to receive the data serially, and then it converts it into the parallel. And a buffer register is used to hold the previous converted data. So normally this R&D line is high. Well, normally it is high, but whenever this line is going to become low, the control logic assumes that it has a start bit. It waits for half of the bit time and then samples the line again. If this line is still low, then the input register is going to accept the bits, forms a character and loads it into the buffer register. And then once it is loaded into the buffer register, then only the CPU is able to read the parallel data from the buffer register. When the input register loads a parallel data to the buffer register, this R and RDY line goes high. And this signal can be used as an interrupt signal or as a status signal to indicate the readiness of the receiver section to the CPU. Meaning thereby, once serial data has been received, it is being converted into the parallel data and is stored in the buffer register. This R and RDY line becomes high, and this line is high, and this line will be connected to the microprocessor, and this line will be giving the information to the microprocessor that device is ready, please receive it. Now the clock signal, that is RC, this is going to control the rate at which the bits are being received by USART, similar to the clock of the TC. TC is going to define that the frequency at which, the rate at which it is going to transmit the data. Similarly, it is going to define that rate at which it will be receiving the data. So in asynchronous mode, what happens? The clock frequency can be set as 1, 16, or 64 times of the baud rate. During now for the asynchronous mode, this SYNDET, this signal will indicate the intentional break in the data transmission. And if this R&D line is low for more than 2 character times, then the signal is asserted. In this signal is going to be asserted just to indicate that there is a break in the transmission. So during the synchronous mode, this signal SYNDET will indicate the reception of the synchronous character. And if 8251 finds the synchronous character in the incoming string of the data bits, and then it is going to assert SYNDET signal at the high. And the last block is the modem control. Now this modem control unit is going to allow to interface with the modem 28251 and to establish the data communication through the modem over the telephone lines. This unit takes care of the handshake signal for the modem. Now we have certain control lines which are related DSR, DTR, CTS, and HTS, and it has its own purpose. This set of control input and the output line, it will be used to simplify the interface of almost any modem. It provides the control circuit for the generation of RTS and DTR and the reception of CTS and the DSR. In addition, general purpose inverted output and a general purpose input are also provided to it. The input is labeled DTR and the input is labeled DSR. DTR can be asserted by setting bit 2 of the command instruction, and DSR can be sensed by the bit 7 of the status register, which we'll be discussing later on. When used on the modem control, DTR indicates the terminal to ready to communicate, that's all. And DSR indicates that it is ready for the communication. So that is all about the explanation of the block diagram.